Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Vivien Chien, author of the Noodle Shop Mysteries. I have my little obligatory plug right here, Crime Rangoon, which is what we're going to be talking about. I am getting into the giveaway series that I have been wanting to do to kind of kick off my channel. However, as most of you know, things kept coming up that prevented me from being able to really do what I wanted to do and utilize this channel. So no time like the present, things are finally starting to level out for me, and I have more time to do things like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Crime Rangoon first, since this is the most recent release, and then we're going to go back all the way to Death by Dumpling. I'm going to do a separate video for each book. I will do a giveaway for each book. Now, for the time being, it will be U.S. residents only due to shipping costs. After I get past a certain book, I can give audiobooks away. I can't remember where Spotify picked up because, as a lot of my readers know, Spotify went and did most of the backlist. But I believe it's the first three at least are owned by a different company, and I don't have any giveaway opportunities for those audiobooks. But I can do audiobooks going forward from, I want to say it's the fourth book. So we're going to start with Crime Rangoon. We'll go back to Death by Dumpling. I'll talk about each book, kind of what inspired me, what the book is about. And then you can feel free to comment and ask questions if you'd like. But you will need to comment in order to participate in the giveaway. That's my stipulation. Comment, and you have to be a subscriber. That's also another thing. So how it will work is that I will post these videos on Thursdays. You will have about 1 week to comment on the video. The following Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern is the cutoff time for leaving comments. And then I will pick a winner later that day. I will respond to your comment, and then you can email me with your mailing information. I'm excited, you guys. I'm excited. And it has been a long time since I've done a talking head video, so I'm a little bit rusty. I am kind of nervous about it because I've kind of built this up in my head so much, right? And I've been talking a lot about that whole like perfectionism thing and trying to steer away from that. So be patient with me during this first video. I think it will be fun to go back and see like how I did with Crime Rangoon, and then we'll end with the Chow Maniac. That'll for these purposes be the 12th book. So what I am going to do first is I'm looking at my notes because I did make some. For those of you that watch my Plan With Me videos, you know I can go on a tangent, so I got to make little bullet point reminders for myself. The first thing that I want to do is I'm going to read the description on the back. I always start a lot of my book promos with that, only because it's a little known fact. A lot of people don't realize that this is part of your sales pitch to the publishing company. When you are turning in your concepts for the books, this is like a shorter version of what I originally turned in to get the contract for this particular story. So I have my readers with me, you guys. It's been a struggle. I'm turning 45 soon, and even though I don't subscribe to that whole getting older thing, my reading this print is no longer a thing. Okay, so let me see. All right, so it starts out with the little caption at the top. It's stranger than fiction when Lana Lee investigates a murder that mimics the plot of a best-selling mystery, working together with her detective boyfriend, Adam Trudeau, for the first time ever. Exciting. Okay, so then I'll read you the back part. Cindy Kwan, owner of Asia Village's bookshop, The Modern Scroll, is privileged to host best-selling author Vivien Chien for a signing in honor of the writer's latest book, The Mystery of General Tso. Lana Lee is equally excited for the appearance of her favorite author, and even more so when Cindy asks her to be Charlene's handler for the event. Taking her duties very seriously, Lana stays by the side of the prominent author to assist in anything that she might need. With the line out the door and stretched through the plaza, Cindy is overjoyed at what a success this is for her shop. But unfortunately for Cindy, her success comes with a price. The author is found dead in the mystery aisle, clutching a copy of her own book. Lana's boyfriend, Detective Adam Trudeau, is charged with leading the case investigation, but finds himself overwhelmed when he realizes just how much of the author's book is mimicked in reality. For the first time in their relationship, Adam calls on Lana to partner up with him to help solve the case. The couple must work through the novel to outwit the murderer, stay one step ahead, and beat the diehard fan to the last chapter. Huzzah. I loved that, writing that. I don't normally like writing a synopsis because I am terrible at it, but I really enjoyed writing the one for that. So I'll give a little background on some elements of the story that made it really fun for me. It was probably when I was going through my second contract, I want to say. So the way that my contracts worked is it's always been for 3 books at a time. And we got through the first 3. They had given me titles that they wanted me to pick from. They gave me like a pool. And so I picked Death by Dumpling, Dim Sum of All Fears, which actually was not the original title of that book. I will talk about that when I do that video. And then Murder Lo Mein. So those were the first 3. And then they gave me another pool, but they suggested if I wanted to chip in any titles, to feel free and add some suggestions. So one of the books that I came up with was The Mystery of General So. It was supposed to be number 5, Egg Drop Dead, which I'll talk about that again. But I wanted that to be the title, and I thought it was, out of the pool that I gave them of mine, I thought The Mystery of General So was the best one. And I was so excited. I'm like, they're going to pick this. It's so good. And then when I got the contract back, they were like, we're going to skip on the titles. Thanks for trying, and they're looking for something a little bit more sharp. The Mystery of General So is a little bit long-winded and thinking about cover design and all of that. So I understood, but I was so disappointed. And I thought, how am I ever going to use this title? Because, they're right. Maybe it's not right for, the series and the crispness, of, if you think of the titles, like, well, what's funny is, And Then There Bun, which is my next book coming out, is a little bit long-winded, but that's a nod to Agatha Christie. So totally different situation. But if you think about my titles, you have Death by Dumpling, Egg Drop Dead, Crime Rangoon, The Misfortune Cookie. Like, it's very short. So how was I going to use this title? And then I came up with the idea of doing this, what if it was a book inside a book? And I got really excited at the idea that I would have Lana's favorite author write a story called The Mystery of General So. And then I wondered, where was I going to go with that? I added a lot of tropes on purpose. I added a lot of inside jokes. I had a lot of fun writing it, because you see being an author through a totally different lens. And then you get to experience the fangirlness of it all when Lana is, getting ready to experience being the handler, which is a real thing, by the way, for big authors. They do usually have somebody with them at events that kind of move you along. So I made Charlene Chan a best-selling author. And what's funny is that this book ended up becoming a best-selling book. It was at the beginning of 2026 on USA Today bestsellers list, which is a huge honor. It was 104. So I made it in the top 150, which is super exciting, especially for somebody at my, I'm not a James Patterson or a Stephen King. So it was very exciting. But getting back to what I was saying about being the handler, I share Lana's excitement at the idea based off of things that readers have told me, based off of how I've felt before meeting, a big-time author, and, before I was published and knew no authors. and everybody was a stranger, the experience is very different. So I included a lot of that. I make a lot of jokes about being a writer, wondering about, how does she come up with these ideas? It was just a lot of fun, you guys. And then the Adam aspect of, okay, so here's the first time, like, if you followed the series, then you know that their relationship has evolved over time, right? So, there's a reluctance on his part to let her be involved, and then he realizes that she's smarter than the average bear and, gives her a little bit more support. It is important in the series, I feel, that I keep a wall up, that he is professional. He is trained. He is a law enforcement individual. She is somebody who is doing this because she wants to help people, because she's bothered, because she feels she can move around, legalities. But in this book, I thought they join up. He needs her help. He needs her to say, I think it's this person because I feel it in my gut, or because this is what I read in my story. My heat just came on, I apologize. The vent, of course, is right above my head. But anyways, I thought, how fun is this gonna be? That he's going to have to kind of tuck tail and involve her in ways that he never thought he was going to ever have to ask her, because in this instance, she has more information than he does. So I had a blast having them two work together. There's a great scene where he takes her to peek in on an investigation, which was totally my editor's idea. I had just written it as like an explanation of, like, he was thinking about doing this, or they were going to go together, but I didn't flesh it out. And my editor was like, why don't you flesh this out, actually show like what happens when they go down to the station together? And I'm like, okay, let me do this. And it ended up, I loved the scene so much. So I had a lot of fun adding in all of those different dynamics, getting in the mystery of General Snow, and just seeing where the relationships go and how they evolve. That's probably one of the best parts of writing this series for me, is watching the evolution of these characters and how they all interact. And it's not just Adam and Lana that are interacting with each other in different ways, but it's Megan and Lana. It's Kimmy and Megan. Their relationship has changed so much. And watching the shop owners and how they tie in and who's got something to say about what. I built this community intentionally with the foresight, or the forethought, maybe, I don't know. But with the idea that I am going to expand on all of these characters. I want a community of people that change and evolve around the central core team, the Scooby Gang, whatever you want to call them, and how their relationships develop over time. So it's not just Lana goes and there's another crime, and this is how she solves it, and it's always the same person following her, like her and Megan. It is sometimes they need to, involve other parties, and I like to see how they interact, and, do they approve or don't they approve, and have they ever asked Lana for help before, because, not everybody's got a clean record in their past. So it is a lot of fun to watch that. Now, I do want to say this for a lot of my newer readers. First of all, welcome and thank you. I always love hearing that people have just discovered me. They saw, Crime Rangoon, and then they decided they wanted to go backwards. That is always my hope, that you will read one of the books and you will want to go back and read the rest. However, I will say this. You can read them in any order that you want. The thing that I do with each book is I do kind of a quick summary of things that are going on, things that have gone on, to explain who everybody is and what their roles are. I try and keep it as short as possible so that it doesn't drag for the readers that have been reading the entire time. But I do have that summary in there so that you don't feel like you're being thrown into story plot. The reason why I decided to do that is because, myself, I am a reader. And I remember when I was a little kid and I went to the library and I was looking for this book. Now, mind you, this is the 80s, okay? Things were a little bit harder to access. So if your library didn't have a book, you had to wait until, it could come from another branch, and who knew how long that was going to take. Sometimes full series were not in libraries. And the series that I wanted, it was really hard for me to get number one. And the book was already in the teens, like the one that they had at the library. So, I got it. But I realized like I didn't know half of what this person was talking about. I was completely lost. So the way that I write my books is that each story stands on its own. You will not be lost if you decide, you know what, I'm going to pick up Crime Rangoon today. And then you have to think, well, do I need to read Death by Dumpling? Technically, no. Do I want you to? Of course I do. I want you to go on the journey with me because I feel that, that is the experience. But you will not be lost. So I do make a lot of inside jokes and references, Easter eggs, if you will, for my readers that have read them as they've come out. So there are going to be some jokes in there that you'll get, but you may not fully understand unless you've read the past books. But some of them I think would just go right over your head had you not read anything before, because the joke stands on its own as well. So feel free to jump in at any time in the series. I hope that you enjoy it is all I want. Being a writer has been a passion of mine since I was young. And I never thought I would get to do it like this. I always worried I would have like one book. Like, what if I ever get published? It'll be one book and it'll end up at the dollar store in the dollar bin. Nobody will want it. And that's, and that was what I thought. And then to be here now with, 12 books out, the 13th written and coming out later this year. And, I've got the 14th coming, the 15th, like the Noodle Shop has had a successful life. And I owe that to my readers, because if you guys didn't support me the way that you did, this series would not be what it is today. And, a lot of people are always like, well, you wrote it, like, don't give us credit or whatever. But no, you guys absolutely deserve credit, because it is through your support. It is through your pre-orders. It is through your reviews that the publishing company is able to see this is a story, this is a book series that people want. And that is so helpful to me. And I am so appreciative to you all. And that's another reason why I want to do all of these giveaways, because I want to share my stories with, people who maybe, skipped a book, or maybe, they couldn't find it or whatever reason, or they feel guilty buying books. Because I know a lot of people are always like, I feel guilty just, buying all these books, and they have like this huge TBR, and they're like, I'll get it later or whatever. So this is kind of your opportunity to jump in and, for me to have a giveaway. For those of you that already know me and know that what I've been through, I'm a 3-time cancer survivor. And during that time, there were books that came out. I call them the cancer books, and they got minimized, they got downplayed, because I didn't have the energy or the stamina to promote them. And I felt bad for those books. And that's where I came up with the idea, is I thought to myself, well, I want to do giveaways for those books. Failed Fried Rice is one of them. Kung Pao Killer is another. I just, I was either being diagnosed with cancer or I was being admitted into a hospital right around the release. Like, the timing was so bizarre, you guys. But what I felt was that I didn't give these books the love that they deserved. I wrote them through very difficult times, and I feel like they are the unsung heroes. So, I was thinking, well, I'll do video series for like those 4 books. And then I was like, well, no, that's not fair to the rest. And like, I didn't get to go on book signings and all of this stuff. I'm like, you know what, do the whole series. So I'm going to do a lot of different fun things with giveaways in this year. we'll do the YouTube series, which will be, like I said, the videos of 1 through 12. And then I'll continue as the new books come out. And then The War Bun comes out in August, I'll do another one and do a giveaway on my YouTube channel. I'm also going to do a lot of giveaways on my social media. I'm trying to get back into everything because I've been missing for so long, which is a whole nother video in itself. But what we'll do is, we'll do these on here. Like I said, you need to be a subscriber. It's US only. I'm going to do another video on my social media called Pick Your Poison. And that is where I'm going to do a giveaway. You can pick which book you want, 1 through 12. And, with the certain exceptions, we can also choose if you wanted an audio version as well. All of the audio version ones will be open to outside of the US. And again, that is because of shipping cost purposes. The shipping, even to Canada, ends up being like twice the price of the book. So it's not very cost effective at this time. I don't know if any of that will ever change in the future. I would like to give everybody an opportunity, but for right now, so I hope that you understand. But the audiobooks will be open, to everybody. Anybody that can open a Spotify account, you'll be able to qualify for those. So I will also do separate Crime Rangoon giveaways on my social media because I have not done that yet either. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I'm trying to get back on TikTok because I do enjoy TikTok, but I haven't been able to devote the time to that just yet. But who knows? That may actually change today. We'll see. I want everybody to be able to get a chance. So if you win a book, like let's say you win, something on Facebook, then you'll be automatically disqualified to win on another platform. I don't know that anybody would necessarily do that because why would you want to win 3 of the same book? But, I don't know. So that'll just be the rule, the standing rule going forward. If you win something, then that will disqualify you for winning that same book on a different platform. I will always let you know, what the date deadline is going to be and give reminders. I do want to do it, like I said at the beginning of the video, where I'm going to put these videos up on Thursdays, and then you're going to have an entire week to review the video, watch it, comment. Commenting is important. Subscription is important to qualify for the YouTube giveaways. So that's everything. I look forward to hearing what you guys think. If there is anything you guys want me to talk about in the future about books, let me know in the comments as well. So this, for this book giveaway, I will choose the winner on April 3rd. You have until 12 p.m. Eastern to leave a comment on Friday, April 3rd. Later in that day, I will pick a winner. I think that's everything. But let me know. So keep in mind, we're going to do the entire series. The next one after this one is going to be Death by Dumpling. So if you have specific things that you want me to talk about or questions you want to ask, you can feel free to reply to this video, and I'll take that into consideration for my next one. Okay. And we're going to do way, more fun things on this channel this year. I'm super excited to finally be getting into this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and just sprinkles, it's just been like a couple of plan with me's here and there. I did a short affirmation video of an idea, which I may circle back to later on, but that's what we got for today. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video and learning a little bit of the backstory behind Crime Rangoon. I will be back with winners, and then we will do Death by Dumpling. Also, check out my channel if you're a planner gal and you want to see what I'm doing. I am currently in a classic happy planner, and I am trying to be committed to it this year because I really need to be organized. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If nobody told you today, my friends, you look absolutely amazing. Take care.